It is Tuesday, April 22nd, and we are live on WagerTalk TV. This is Puck Time. I am Andrew. I have Lawrence present with me, and we are excited to talk about every single NHL game with you tonight on tap after several overtime games last night. After a close comeback, the Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings. So many great games to break down. I wake up pumped every day to talk playoff hockey with you guys, and I cannot wait to break down these games tonight. We're going to talk Carolina Hurricanes, New Jersey Devils, Game 2, Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators, Game 2. We're going to talk Florida and Tampa, Game 1. And, of course, we will go over, just for a few minutes, that Minnesota and Vegas game as well. Lawrence Presman, how are you, Prez?
I'm great, Andrew. Nice to see you guys. Looking forward to doing the show. I don't wake up as pumped as you anymore. It's an age thing. Some people will get that joke. Yeah. Anyway, I'm excited to be here, dude. Excited. Leafs are happening tonight. I'm going to the game. Got great seats. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped, man.
Awesome, man. I'm jealous. Hope you have a great time. The atmosphere looked unbelievable in Game 1. I'm happy we didn't see as many people wearing suits in Game 1. It was all diehard and passionate fans. That place was buzzing there, and they 6 goals in Game 1 from the Maple Leafs. But, Prez, I want to start with the Hurricanes and the Devils series here because, you know, a lot of times you try and think of reasons why maybe the team that lost in Game 1 is going to bounce back. Maybe the road team gets the job done in Game 2. A lot of times the home team, the home favorite, wins Game 1. And if the road team is going to steal one, that game is typically Game 2. Right now, when I look at this one, I think that there's no chance that New Jersey is going to come back in this series, at least until we get back home in New Jersey for them. Luke Hughes going down, Brendan Dillon getting injured, too many guys adding up on that injured list, whether they're actually out there or not. I like Carolina to get the job done. The team total over 3.5 is plus 100 even money. Up until yesterday, Prez, every single team that won went over their 3.5 team total. I have been preaching about this for weeks now. I mean, months on Puck Time about regulation prices being minus 130, 135, team totals bringing you to plus money odds. And that's why I was able to have success this season. I think if Carolina wins tonight, which I feel strongly they will, once again, they will reach that 4-goal mark, and you can get that at plus 100. How do you feel here? Obviously, the Devils will not be happy about their performance in Game 1 shots, but frankly, Prez, I don't see much changing.
You know, Andrew, I'm going to take apart this game and give you my thoughts, which are somewhat similar to yours, but in a different direction. But before I get into that, given that we're right at the top of the show, I want to make mention that Carmine Bianco, my good pal, is on a 16-1 NHL run, an 18-3 run in his premium plays for his clients. Those numbers are spectacular. And in the world of irony, Carmine is in Italy, enjoying his time with his beautiful wife, still doing all his work and winning every single day. Yet he's not here to promote himself, so I will do it for him. Carmine Bianco on a 16-1 NHL run, 18-3 in his premium plays. So shout out to my bald-headed friend Carm. As for this Carolina game, so I agree with you. Carolina's going to get it done. I am looking at under 2.5 goals for New Jersey, a similar handicap to how you're what you're doing, in the sense that it's like I can't bet minus 265 for Carolina. I do like the under on this game. You mentioned 4 goals for Carolina. I'd rather count on New Jersey scoring less than 3 than Carolina scoring more than 3. I think this New Jersey team is going to struggle to put 3 goals in net all series long. And I'd rather not have to scream and yell for an empty netter. So we both are coming at this from the same perspective. Carolina's going to win this game. Yes, I am, Dan. Carolina's going to win this game. I just prefer under 2.5 goals for New Jersey than over 3.5 goals for Carolina. I do also like the under in this game, Andrew, and I like Carolina -1.5. I think we're going to get a 3-1, 4-1 game, and it's just a matter of, are you going to win it with that empty netter? So that's sort of how I'm looking at this game.
It's a great point by you, Prez, about that team total under for the Devils, because I will admit I'm a bit fearful. I could see what happened in the Jets game, where game one, they proved, hey, you want to play high scoring? We can win that one too. But then, of course, we saw last night, game two, Jets and Blues, they win that one 2-1. And Brian Leonard and I talked about that team total under for the Blues, getting that price down to only -140. It was still a little bit of juice, but better than the money line price. And of course, they win that 1-2-1. Right. The only thing is I believe that the game that the Hurricanes are probably better at is the low scoring game. So I think New Jersey will have no choice but to open things up. I think they're going to have to open things up in order to try and score.
Yeah, I don't know, Andrew. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, obviously, to try score, and yes, they're going to score, but this New Jersey team's got Markstrom and net. He's a hell of a goalie. Carolina had an insane number of shots on New Jersey last game. I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't know. I think that ultimately, when you look at these Sheldon Keefe coach teams, the Leafs were unable to get more than 2 goals. I think 7 out of 8 of their last games under Sheldon Keefe. And they had a hell of a lot more scoring talent than this New Jersey Devils team. I think Sheldon is a defense first type of coach. I don't know, but I'll tell you something, Andrew. I'm totally good on a 4-2 game. You win yours, I'll win mine.
Absolutely. I gave out some props on this game and all kinds of great games, all kinds of games on the Blue Line show and podcast with Prez earlier this morning. You guys can catch that on the WagerTalk TV channel. Talking props, Prez went through every single game on the board. Rapid fire gave his opinions. So make sure you guys check that out every single day with Prez, Matthew Barnaby, and an assortment of great guests that they have every day on that show. And I'll be there on Fridays as well to close out the week with Matthew and Prez to give my thoughts on some games. It was a blast last Friday, but I'm really looking forward to this Friday with the series already being underway and giving our in-series thoughts on some of these games. All right, Prez, Maple Leafs and Senators. I know it's hard sometimes to break down games when you're a fan, but also you know the team inside and out, and you see what they do well. You see what they maybe didn't do well. And, when I look at this game, I saw experience from the Maple Leafs. And I think that every call besides one was the right call as far as the penalties. I saw a disciplined, calm, collected Maple Leafs team. And I think that, to your point that you talked about to me earlier on the phone and through on the Blue Line show, the Maple Leafs maybe didn't even play their best 5-on-5 game, but they still managed to put 6 goals up on the board total. How do you feel about this game overall, side, total? Yep. What sticks out to you here?
Yeah, so let me start by saying this, Andrew. I agree with you. Toronto showed a lot of poise in their last game, but more importantly, I think Ottawa showed a lack of poise and a lack of discipline. I felt like the game turned on the Tim Stützle penalty, and that penalty just should not have happened. It was the right call by the refs, but it was the wrong call by Tim. Tim is not a guy that is going out there trying to lay the hits. He's not some smackdown hockey player. This is their number one skilled hockey player, the most skilled hockey player on the Ottawa Senators. The grittiness of Brady is nothing without the talent of Tim. And here he was demonstrating that Ottawa is not ready for prime time. They were running all over the place. They were trying to hit the Leafs all over the place. I'm going to give the Ottawa Senators and any team or athlete listening to the show a piece of advice. The way you win sporting events is by outscoring your opponent. That works in soccer, basketball, baseball, hockey, badminton, squash, darts, cricket, snooker, and every other single sport ever invented. You do not get, unless you're in the UFC or boxing, You do not get points for hits. They don't count. Nobody is tracking. Well, somebody's tracking them, but they're not important. They are meaningless. So stop trying to hit everybody and start trying to score. That's my message to the Ottawa Senators. With that said, I think Ottawa is going to score no more than 2 goals every single game of this playoff series, flat out. I look at this Toronto team, Andrew, and everybody, all the talking heads, Tavares, Matthews, Marner, Nylander. Who cares about any of those guys? Let's start with the number one goalie in hockey right now. And I know, what are you talking about, Prez? What about Connor? What about Connor? What about Vasilevsky? What about Bobrovsky? Well, they all played this year, and only one has the highest save percentage, which I believe is the number one statistic. That save percentage, number one, is Anthony Stolarz. Now, he shared the net, so he didn't get a chance to put up the dubs that Connor put up. But this is a goaltender that has been lights out since day one this season. This Leaf defense is lights out. They're heavy, they're fast, they're skilled, they're hard-hitting. This is a defense-first team. They follow their coach, Craig, who has had the Blues when they won the Cup, playing incredible defense. They back check, they forecheck. I don't think Ottawa scores more than 2. I love under the total of 2.5 goals for Ottawa. I also think the Leafs get it done tonight. I like them in regulation. I think they understand the importance of this game. They are not winning the Cup or going deep in the playoffs, zigzagging their way into game 7s and then hoping for a miracle. This is a team that knows they have to string 2 to 3 games together to get through these series. They won the last one. They didn't even play well. Andrew, they were outshot in the last game, 33-24. They did not play well, great defensively, even though they allowed a lot of shots. It was from the outside, but Ottawa was in their end too many times, too long last game. Toronto did not play well offensively. Sure, they put up 6 goals, which is amazing, but they did not carry the play. They did not carry the puck, and they only had 20 or 25 shots on net. I think Toronto plays better tonight than they played. I don't think it's going to be 6-2. I think it's going to be around 4-1, 3-1. I like Toronto in regulation, Toronto minus 1.5, and under the total of 2.5 goals for Ottawa. And I'm going to the game. I'll be in section 312 if anyone is there. Lots of love. Go Leafs, go.
All right. Prez looking for the Leafs to take that 2-0 series lead over the Ottawa Senators in this one here, game 2 tonight. Prez, I had a lot of people up in arms. I made a TikTok video that, I'm going to be honest, I knew was going to get a ton of views. I knew I was going to get people kind of worked up. And the TikTok stated the 5-on-5 expected goal numbers were 1.9 to 1.3 in favor of the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
5-on-5, the game wasn't that different. It wasn't that dominant. But as you mentioned, the penalties, that hit from behind that you said was Stützle, I thought he held up. I thought Tanev turned. I mean, for Tanev to go down like that call could be made, I think, 15 times in every game. The cross check has to be called. The hit from behind on Matthews has to be called. The tripping has to be called. A lot of that stuff had to be called. But when you look at the numbers, and if you're Travis Green for the Ottawa Senators, you look at it and you say, man, we looked like a young team.
Yeah.
We looked like an inexperienced team.
Yeah.
But those 5-on-5 numbers, 1.9 to 1.37 expected goals, the score is 3-2 if you take away power play goals. And I know it's part of the game. So I think we're going to see a more disciplined version of the Ottawa Senators. Here's what I bet, Prez. I don't know if the Ottawa Senators are going to come back and tie this series, because to your point, I think we're going to see a still laser focused Maple Leafs team. The difference to me with the Leafs this year compared to the years past is their bottom 6.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference.
Yeah. Yep.
I've told you in years past, I've had an issue with depth. And I think that when you got a guy like Steven Lorentz in the bottom 6, you've got certain players that have just kind of been there, done that. They can lock things down. They're going to be great. But minus 130 for the Ottawa Senators to score in the first period, I have bet that. I've locked that in. I think that they give everything that they possibly have in that first period. I think we see something out of their goal scorers. I think to your point, Tim Stützle goes back to being a goal scorer and not just a guy trying to throw 9 hits in one game. So I think that minus 130 for the Ottawa Senators to score a goal in the first period is a decent bet, and you can get plus 130 on them to win the first period. And I think if they do win the first period, you bet the Leafs live to win the game. Because the best period we're going to see from the Senators, in my opinion, is going to be the first period. But I don't know if they can sustain that for the full three periods.
Andrew, I just want to address something one of our best listeners, an awesome dude, Fortnort, wrote. The Leafs were dealt a very favorable hand in the first round. So dealing is when somebody else deals you a card. It's very random. Earning the right to play Ottawa is when you play 82 games over a 6-month period. You beat everybody else in your division and you earn the right to play Ottawa. You're not dealt some random right to play shitty Ottawa. You earn the right to play Ottawa. As for the Stützle call being bad, oh man, we could play that game all day long. Let's move on.
We could definitely play that game all day long. Good point made by Brian Leonard, talking with him yesterday about how people talk, Prez, about how the playoffs are more physical, right? And the referees let more go. That is true. However, because of all that physicality, we actually see more penalties in the playoffs than we do in the regular season. The refs can't let it all go.
No,
the refs can't let everything go. So they do let a lot of stuff go, but the power plays. And that's one thing that I tell people when they're betting props. I'm not saying you want to get too greedy, but I'll find this right now for you. I think this stuff is pretty interesting when you look at player props in these games, Prez. When you bet power play points, it is so cool to look at these props here because not only are you betting kind of these guys to play well and score, you can get like a +1, like a minus 150, 60 for a guy like Matthews to get a point anytime. You could turn it into a +200 for these guys to get power play points. And people might say, well, how many power plays are you going to get in the playoffs? Well, shockingly, a lot more than you think. And if you look at guys like Nathan McKinnon and Jack Eichel and some of these guys, I mean, these guys are consistently going to score. Tavares, Matthew Nyes, Marner, Nylander, Riley, all of those guys had a power play point in game one. So it'll be very interesting to see. I truly do believe, though, that we're going to have to see a low-scoring game for the Ottawa Senators to have a chance because we saw the offense on full display for the Maple Leafs. I wish, Prez, a lot of fun and the best of luck at tonight's game. I hope you post some pictures, Prez. It should be a blast. But there's one series that hasn't even started yet. We're talking about Game 2, Devils-Canes. Game 2, Leafs and Senators. And the Battle of the Sunshine State has not even started. One team, Prez, has not played a game since last Tuesday. One team hasn't played since Thursday. How do you deal with that? How does that affect your handicapping? And how do you feel about this game? Not the series, but game 1 in Tampa, Lightning and Panthers.
Andrew, before I get into that, a couple of quick things. I love the people who are in your chat room. One of the listeners writes over and under on Prez drinking beers at the game tonight, 3.5. I just want to say the over and under on Prez drinking bottles of beers or can of beers or cups of beers or glasses of beers or even a syringe full of beer, a thumbnail of beer, a shot glass of beer. If you put that number on 3.5 in my lifetime, it would be under the total. I despise beer and I hate alcohol. So just wanted to get that out there. The other thing is, I have it's $5 Tuesday over at WagerTalk. And my play is a 5% NBA play. Andrew, I've won 8 days in a row. I've had 4 losing days for my clients in the last 22. I've had 6 losing days in the last 32 days. I'm on a 13-5 NBA run. This is only my second 5% play of the entire NBA season. I won my first easily. So, guys, $5 Tuesday in full effect over at WagerTalk. Let's go. As far as Tampa Bay playing Florida, this is a tough one. Andrew, on Blue Line yesterday with Matthew Barnaby, I mentioned that I don't see myself releasing a bet on the Dallas-Colorado series, and I don't see myself releasing a bet on the Florida-Tampa Bay series either. Anybody who can sit there and say unequivocally and are prepared to put their hard-earned money down in this series is out of their mind. There is no reason Tampa Bay can't win this game tonight, minus 120. There is no reason the Florida Panthers can't win this game tonight, plus 100. There is no reason a Tampa Bay Lightning team can't go over the total of 5.5. There is even less reason why a Florida Panthers team can't go under the total of 5.5. My bet on this game is it starts and ends.
There you go. There we go. Well, how important do you really think the home ice is in this one? I'll ask you that, Prez. Do you think it's important for Tampa Bay to have been able to achieve the home ice advantage?
No, I think it's irrelevant, but I do think if a gun was held to my head, I would take the Bolts, and I would take them tonight. So, I mean, if I'm forced to pick on this game, I would take Tampa Bay. I don't think home ice advantage has any relevance to any series that a Stanley Cup championship team is in. I don't think it has any relevance in the Dallas-Colorado game. I don't think it has any relevance in the Vegas-Minnesota game, at least for Vegas. I don't think it has any relevance to the Florida-Tampa Bay game for both those teams, as both of them are still rolling out largely Stanley Cup championship players.
The two series that I thought it mattered the most in, the Hurricane series and the LA Kings series,
yes.
for them to achieve home ice.
Especially with Danault, right? So,
for sure, get those matchups of your choice. A shout out to SW. I think that is Swish, SW15H. I am bolt up. Will be my first hockey game. Let's go, Tampa. We hope you have a great time. First hockey game in person. What a game for that to be your first hockey game, man. I hope you have a blast. Let us know tomorrow in the chat how the game was. And I know you'll be cheering hard for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. So, Prez, I'll tell you one thing. I don't really write anything into the fact that the last time these teams played, it was 5-1 Lightning. That was the last game of the season, and it didn't really mean much. I think the division was already decided. One thing about Florida that I noticed that they did down the stretch that Tampa Bay did over the years, they just wanted to get in. They didn't care if they were first, second, or third. Get in. That's what Tampa Bay used to do. After they won their first cup and they were going to the Stanley Cup Finals this year, that year, they went to the Cup Finals, I think, like 3 years in a row. They just needed to get in. And so when I saw this Panthers team start to slip a little bit, I thought, I'm not too worried about them. But one thing I am worried about with the Florida Panthers is chemistry. They lost a lot of guys on the blue line and the forward position in the offseason last summer after winning the cup. And then now you've got Brad Marchand, who they have to bring in to the lineup, who has done well in the past against Tampa Bay in his career. But slotting him in, I think he only has one goal so far in a Panthers uniform. Matthew Tkachuk, figuring out if he's going to be able to play game one, how his health is, how he's going to be able to do to slot back into playoff hockey right away. And meanwhile, you've got Jake Gensel, you've got Braden Point, you've got Kucherov, you've got Yanni Gourde, who they signed back, who won a Stanley Cup with this team a few years ago. He goes off in the expansion draft, goes to Seattle. They get him back on his team now. I like the home team here. I think that they get the job done. I think there's a reason why they're slight favorites. Obviously, a lot of that is to do with them being at home, but people were hyping up this Panthers team all year long, going back to the Cup Finals. And I know Tampa Bay has become kind of a popular pick, it seems, and that kind of worries me. But I think Tampa takes game one. I think they're more ready. I think people are forgetting about Vasilevsky and what he can do. And even though there's so much talent out there for the Florida Panthers, I think that the chemistry might be an issue versus I'm not worried about that whatsoever with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Press $5 Tuesday, brother. Every play, every handicapper, one play listed for just $5. You guys can check out wagertalk.com. We've always got all kinds of great deals going on. And if it's your first time watching Puck Time, Prez and I are super appreciative of you being here with us. And we are live at wagertalk.com, WagerTalk TV, every single weekday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're enjoying the show, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel here. We are growing every single day. We just passed 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we are very, very thankful for that. But Prez has a big play up in the NBA for today. Of course, he'll have NHL plays every day as well, and I've got a big play up in the NHL that I'm very excited about. So looking forward to hopefully a great night for both of us. Frank, shout out to Frank. He just got Prez's 5% play in the NBA. Congratulations in advance, Frank, on hopefully a big play from Prez. The last game we'll talk about here, Prez, Wild and Knights. You know, besides that late goal to cover the puck line, team total, full game over, and everything with 0.1 seconds left on the clock, it was a relatively close game. Kaprizov did his thing. Boldy did his thing. Vegas does well at home, but do you think that Vegas can kind of let the Wild crawl back into this series, or do they protect home ice and win both?
You know, I mean, listen, they're obviously a Stanley Cup championship team, a great coach, great lineup, very deep, good goaltending, good defense, everything. I like Minnesota, Andrew. I think there's value at plus 195. It was a close game. I could also see this game going to overtime, but I think the real bet here is on the under. I think ultimately, if you need to isolate one single bet in this game, what is the best bet? It's under 5.5 goals. And I think you should feel comfortable taking the under throughout the series, even if it gets down to 5. I think most games are going to end around 3-2, to be honest with you, 3-2, 3-1. We had a 3-2 game last game as well, minus that last second goal to make it 4-2. So I look at this and I say, look, both of these teams played to the under all year. And if you're going to play to the under in the regular season, you're definitely going to play to the under in the playoffs. I don't want to overthink this at all. Take under the total of 5.5 in the Minnesota-Vegas game. And, you know, you're going to ask me for my show best bet later on. Well, this is it.
All right, that is it. And this is really the end of the show. Looking towards the under in that game, under 5.5. Minnesota has good defense and they have good goaltending. And truly, I do believe that as good as Vegas can be defensively, the way the Wild have to try and win this one is keeping it tight. Very similar to kind of the style of play we saw in game one, similar to what we saw in the Capitals and Canadiens game, because when the Canadiens were down 2-0, it felt like 4-0 as a fan, but it was only 2-0 and they crawled back and forced overtime. The Wild need to do the exact same thing. I'll take a look at, that under as well, Prez, under 5.5. And very similar to what I did with the Ottawa Senators, I'm going to take over 0.5 goal in the first period for the Minnesota Wild. I think they score early, get Vegas on their toes, and then kind of make them have to battle back and see what they can do after that one. So when I'm doing these type of bets, usually I'll split half my bet on the first period money line, half my bet on this team over 0.5 goal, and you're getting a real good price on that one as well. All right, under 5.5, Prez's best bet here on the show. For me, I'm going to go with the over team total 3.5 for the Carolina Hurricanes. Current price minus 105. It has just been announced that Luke Hughes and Brendan Dillon will not be in the lineup.
Wow.
Guys, the second that I get off this show, I am releasing that as a 3% client play. That will be a free play as well. Over 3.5 goals, minus 105 for the Carolina Hurricanes over the New Jersey Devils. I have a big play, though, in the NHL for $5. Prez has a monstrous play in the NBA tonight, and we will both see you guys in about 18 minutes time on Wager Talk today. Thanks a lot, Prez.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you guys next time right here on Puck Time, powered by Wager Talk.